Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Sola here. Dubai Monster Cast is live. And today we got this special couple as my guests, Darren Farrell and Rebecca Farrell as well. Welcome, guys. Thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you for having us.
Uh, let's start from the very beginning because I want you guys to talk about couple things and relationship
Uh-oh.
into the bodybuilding. So, when you guys first met, were you both already bodybuilders or not? How did it all start?
Oh gosh, this is a long story. We got time. Let's just talk about it.
Met in the most bodybuilding fashion ever.
Yeah. We met at a bodybuilding expo. So we met in Body Power 2014 or 15.
Yeah, bodybuilding at the time was like the biggest fitness expo in the world. It was my first year going. I don't know, was it yours?
So it's my first year, yeah. Yeah.
I was there with
BSN?
BSN supplements. And you were just there visiting. Yeah,
I was just there as a fitness enthusiast. I just got into training. I was there with my girlfriend. I was like, oh, this is Fitness Expo. Let's go up there. That'll be fun. So we drove up for like the weekend and we happened to bump into each other because his cousin had been dating at the time my friend that I was with. So we kind of like, oh, we're going to meet up with these guys. I know this guy and his cousin's coming. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. And then we kind of bumped into each other. And then, yeah, we chatted a little bit there at the expo. I wasn't really that interested. I'll be honest.
What's this expo?
Birmingham.
Birmingham.
Yeah, yeah. Anyone listening from the UK will know Body Power. I don't think it's actually running at the minute.
no, it's gone.
It's gone now. But yeah, we met then, and then I would say about a week or so later, I get a DM on Facebook. Facebook was the thing back then.
Yeah, it's before Instagram.
Yeah. He basically found me on Facebook and then started sliding in my DMs, and the rest is history. Yeah. But he was competing then. I wasn't. So I wasn't actually bodybuilding at the time.
I just started bodybuilding really. I had already been doing it a year or so.
Yeah.
So you were already competitor at that time.
Yeah, I'd done 2 shows maybe that year. I started that year and did 2 shows. So that was it.
I've been training for about a year and a half, 2 years, and I'd done a couple of photo shoots, but never thought I'd get on stage until we kind of met. And then, yeah.
So he pushed you?
No, not really. Not really. I don't even know how it came about.
We had been like we started
To a couple.
so when we met and we sort of started talking and stuff. Not so long later, I moved to the UK and we moved in together and stuff. And we made friends with like other people around. We were into the gym, and it was actually my training partner, his coach, who's now a big coach in the UK, Team LRF. A huge coach in the UK now, but at the time he was like working as a security guard and coaching like 3 or 4 people. One of my training partner was his client, so he started coaching me, and I wasn't planning on competing or anything at that time. And his girlfriend was doing a show near to us, and we were like, oh, we'll go watch it.
Yeah.
And that's when you decide, you saw it, and you're like, oh, this kind of looks fun.
Yeah. And kind of the rest is history. And then, yeah, my first competitive season was 2015. We actually prepped together during that year. So we did multiple shows, peak weeks to peak weeks, back to back. And at the time in the UK, they were regional shows because it was the UK BFF. It was before
all like the pro cards you can get now. It was like literally in the UK then. You had
yeah.
shows all around the country that were regionals, and that if you placed top 3 in any of those, you qualified for the British finals. And at the British finals, there was 1 pro card.
Yeah.
Across all classes. So 1 pro card for men, 1 pro card for women. That was it.
You remember every year competitors were in the hundreds.
It was a huge show.
That's a proper competition. Cool. Well,
If you want to put it into perspective, like people here will know, like
James
Hollingshead, Nathan Diasha, Sasson Haradi, all open pros now. Luke Sando when he was so they all had to wait year after year. So one of them won it 1 year, the rest were behind him. Then one won it the next year. So they had to wait. Like you're talking, that was the standard of like the super heavyweights. That's how the shows you were having guys who've all been to the Olympia now. Like it was so good that Samson Dowd she didn't win his pro card there. He missed out on it and then ended up going to the Arnold Europe and getting his. That's how good the standard was there, that Samson couldn't even win it back then.
Yeah. But that's kind of how we started our bodybuilding.
Well, actually, Bax, you just mentioned something that I really want to go into about you guys repping yourself together.
Yeah.
How is it? How is it? Because each channel there's like one to support and the other one being moody as hell. So how you guys manage that?
I think we've done it since then, like year after year, and we can manage it well. But I think in that first year, all you got to understand is that was my very first year competing. So I had no fucking clue what the hell I was doing in terms of how my body was going to feel, what I'd look like lean, hunger levels, energy levels. Like I'd never been through that kind of dieting process and that level of discipline before. So I found that initial year very, very hard. And I was working a very corporate job at the time. So I wasn't an online coach. I was training teachers all over the country, driving long distance, staying overnight and stuff. So that was really tough. A lot of traveling.
Abroad, you were in
Yeah.
China.
Yeah. I was in China. Where else did I go to? Malaysia. So I was prepping and working a very high end job. So all of those things combined were really tough. And we just moved into our first like house as well. So we had all of that like new relationship, moving in together, prepping together, working separate jobs, travel.
So
And then during that
life comes at once.
yeah, literally. And then during that prep, he decides he's going to propose to me halfway through as well. And I was like, it's like,
Wouldn't you wait a little bit?
it was literally like, I think we were like 4 weeks out from the British finals or something like that. And yeah, he took me out and proposed to me. And I was like, this guy's nuts. It's like, and we'd only been dating like 8 months or something like this.
Is it well done, Darren? Well, he gotta be all in.
Yeah. Someone if he's like, I'm not letting this one go.
From it, like you hear people like talk about that the couples struggle with preps and stuff. I think because both of us very much just enjoy the lifestyle. Like the thing people, anyone listening would think that he'd never, like she was like, it was her first ever show, but she'd been prepping meals and dieting and doing photo shoot and doing training history. Yeah. And we both, this is our lifestyle, whether we compete or not, we live this way. So nothing much changes between prep and like, you know, Jordan just lives this way year round.
Yeah.
God. So that aspect of it, I think that's where we didn't really have to deal with that side of things where our whole life changed when we started a prep. We were used to doing that stuff. It just got, okay, you had to do a little bit more cardio. You maybe felt a little more tired. Maybe we got a little bit moodier here and there, but our life didn't change. I think that's the difference is we lived this way before. We don't do this to compete. We compete as a byproduct of what we do.
And the thing is, because we both enjoy it and we live this lifestyle, we have so much in common. I think other couples struggle when one's on prep, one's not on prep, and they're not living the lifestyle anyway. You know, I find that with clients, they find it very challenging when they want to take themselves through a process, but their partner doesn't get it, or that believes, you know, and harder.
I think our social life is very much the same. Neither of us drink.
Yeah.
So that's not, you know, I see that with clients I work with as well. As like one's on prep and the other wants to go out and they want to, you know, it's cocktails and all this. They're like, I can't do this. And whereas neither of us drink. So it's like our type of socializing going out is quite different. You know, don't get me wrong, we like to go for a nice meal or something like that, but it's a little bit more, it's not, our social life and our social circle isn't revolved around food and drink, you know, so yeah, it makes things a little bit different on that aspect. I think that's where a lot of people struggle is doing a prep is such a change from their day-to-day life.
And the thing is, with us, when we prep together, whether one of us is on prep or not, what makes it really special is that we both really understand it, like, and we feel it for each other. So like when he was on prep all of last year, I would do everything in my power to make sure I could make things easier for him because I wasn't prepping. I was in off season. You know, I'd take his check-in photos every single morning. I wouldn't prep his meals because he wouldn't let me touch his meals. He would also tell. But like, and you know, I'd make sure that things around the house were easy, calm. I'd do all the dog walks, anything that would take the stress off it. And then vice versa, it works like that. Like when I was going for my pro card 2 years ago, like I think it meant just as much to him as it did to me. Like we both cried on stage. Like it was a very powerful moment for us because we've been on this journey for 10 years together. So I think with that aspect, whether one of us on prep or two of us on prep together, I think we both feel it for each other because we know what it's like to go through that process. So there's a huge amount of support and understanding. Like even this morning, you know, he came and gave me a cuddle and I was a bit moody and I was a bit tired. He said, "You're tired, aren't you? Can I just give you a hug?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay. Thanks." 8 weeks out, you know, they've reached on some stuff, right? Can I give you a hug or are you going to
Just give the dogs a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It's okay, come in or go that way.
Is this is
I think right now it's good because he's not on prep and I am. So I think, yeah, it takes the stress away and I know that he gets it. So I think we'd probably prefer it when one is and one isn't. Would you say?
Yeah, because I think it just allows them, for both on prep, it kind of makes things a little bit more difficult in terms of the running of the house and this, the kind of non-fun stuff, non-bodybuilding related stuff also comes a little bit more difficult. But at least if something comes up there, like that needs to be done, or
I can handle it. You can handle it. We could take it off.
One of us has a bit more brain. Like we're off to Dallas in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I'll just do all the booking and sort all of that and do all that.
Yeah, I don't have to think.
I don't have to deal with that stress,
got it? Yeah, it makes sense because one got like more energy. There's no lack of food, lack of energy.
So this is also like I can say straight up from like even things like going to the shows where you're actually competing as well. The last couple of shows, like the last 2 shows I've done have been huge shows, like doing the Arnold and doing the Olympia. Having someone there who's fully there with you and just being able to
Getting your back.
yeah, and just kind of keep you like if Bex was on prep and she was going through emotional stress, which we all know we all do, and she's trying to like then keep me calm because I'm doing these shows, it's going to be a little harder. But when she's there, she's able to just keep you calm. Go do the little things. Like you forget something in the shop, she's like, "Don't worry, I'll go get it. You just relax and lie on the couch." Or it's the same like whenever we go to shows, like we're in Sweden for you. It's like I'll go and do everything. I'll prep your meal here if you need it. I'll make sure we do this. I'll drive to the show. Don't worry about driving, anything like that. When we travel, it's good to have one of you.
Got it.
And the thing is, we know what each other's like. So he's also my coach. So he knows how hard I push. He knows that I'm willing to do anything to achieve the goal. So I think that also helps because he's there not just as my coach, but he can be there as my husband as well. So I think that helps.
So you're coaching her. Is she a good listener?
Yeah, she listen. I've coached her for most of her career. We did take the time away from me and it wasn't because of the coaching process. It was because of the husband-wife process. Because the lines have become blurred, and it's like you're like, let's just you're like, she's really struggling, and you're like, no, you need to push out no food, taking away some of your food, and she gets moody. You can blur that lines, but we've kind of, the end of the day, we work best together. So we've got more experience in it, and now Becky works with me as a client like anyone else. The process is the exact same. She does her check-in photos and sends them to me. It's like any of the one of my clients, so she gets her feedback via video, everything, like, all the exact same. So we keep it separate. So I'm her coach and I'm her husband, and I can be both rather than that line being blurred. So it's not like we're not sitting at breakfast and going over her plan. I'll go, "Oh, how was your check-in this morning?" Or, "How was your weight this morning?" Like I would if I wasn't coaching her, saying, "Yeah, okay, cool," but I won't go, "Ooh, okay, I won't go into it." It's like you said the other day when I filmed you in the posing room for my camera because I wanted to. Actually, you didn't say anything. I was like, "So am I supposed to?" Yeah, I'm not the same as like you.
I'm not gonna lie, that pissed me off. Like, are you gonna tell me, do I look good or not? He's like, it's not my job to. I'm like, but you still could have done it as a husband. As a husband, you could have said, you look good. But yeah.
But these we can speak at home.
Yeah.
In the posing room, you're just another athlete today.
True.
A special athlete, but it's still just an athlete, right?
No, but it was actually the other way. I was just filming it for like not as their coach.
It was like Instagram reel.
Yeah, it was just an Instagram reel. Like it'd be the same thing when I have to be at a show with a client and I'm looking at them in person. I don't like to react to an in person. I'll still take photos on my phone, and I'll go, okay, I'll get back to you in a minute. I'll go and leave the room away from them and remove them, because last thing you want to do, like imagine you're standing in front of me posing, and your coach is looking at you and going, no, and then they go, "Joe, what, we need to do this," and if they don't have time to think and give you a logic point, you're like, "Oh shit, something's wrong." Whereas if I go away from that person, even if things are great or if they're bad, even if I look at them, I'm like, "Shit, they're a little bit flat." Okay. At least I can go away and I go, right, what we're going to do is going to put a little bit more food, a little bit of water, because I just feel that maybe your hydration is a little bit off. It's just a quick fix. It's nothing to worry about. And I can really, so they go, okay, they don't go, "Oh no, I'm not perfect." That you want to make sure. I think people make that mistake in person as well. Now they go, "Oh, you're crazy." And they give them all over the top. You've got to just keep that emotionless in person and give constructive feedback like you would through a normal check-in.
Got it. So yeah, well, this is very tricky actually. It's especially this moment when you are taking pictures or moving, especially in the posing routine and checking the body, and as you just does just like moving the eyebrows, and the athletes is there. That, oh my god, that is something real wrong. For no, no, I'm sorry. I just moved.
But it can even be a total mistake. Like you see, like if it's like you see it sometimes when coaches are with an athlete all weekend, right? And maybe they've got multiple athletes and they look at them at one time and they give them really positive feedback. Like, oh yeah, you look really good, bang on, bang on. And then they're rushing around. They see them a couple hours later and they quickly come and look at them and okay, all good, and they leave. They're going, what's happened between earlier and now? Earlier they were like, oh my god, now they're just like, okay, good, and they just walked out and they leave. Nothing's changed. You still look just as good, but they've got other stuff on their mind. Yeah, be very consistent with your approach and what you say and what you do. That's why you should just always just be like, okay, when you're talking, you just literally look, go. And I also think that you should, if you've been working with someone a whole prep via pictures, and then you go to see, you're with them for the show, for example, for 3 days, you can't compare that look of what you've been looking to what it looks in person. You know the same.
Yeah.
A picture to in person can look very different depending on lighting. So you still very different. You still need to try and set up the same process, so, or at least go, right, I'll take pictures here as well, and then compare the pictures to then go, okay, well, in the older pictures, they did look a little crispier than that. So we know that it's just the lighting here. And then you have a way to sort of compare, understanding at least of what's going on with lighting relative to the visuals and know that they're still in the same position.
Yeah, can the lighting, the phone's angle, everything.
It's the background.
The background actually, yeah, if it is like white or black. For example, when they change the pose from white to black,
Oh my god.
everybody starts to complain, oh my god, now it's so different. And when I actually commented this with one of my clients, and I remember she was like, no, but it's the same, it's just picture. Like, no, for us,
So different.
it's so
But
different.
even a couple of years ago when it was they didn't, they were on the far side, there was a window. There was a window there.
Yeah,
You just turned all the lights off and you let that was perfect.
That's where
And there was almost consistent check-ins while they were, and then they covered up the window and they did it. I was like, oh god.
yeah.
Nose blocks. Yeah.
And so back to your on prep now.
yes,
When are you gonna compete?
8 weeks. 8 weeks today. I know. I haven't done a show since May 2023 when I at my pro club. So yeah, it'll be 2 years away from stage.
When you just got your pro car, you didn't compete again. So it is your debut now.
It's my debut. Yeah. I don't.
Which ones, Navi?
I don't want to say, but everyone knows. Pittsburgh and New York. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, low key bricking it. Not gonna lie. Low key shitting it, yeah.
Don't share. Don't share. And how's your health?
Oh, good. Yeah. I feel okay. Like everything's going really well. I'm still able to function, do all the things. Just now we're at the point where it's like I'm starting to get tired. But I was just saying to you today, like I'm not hungry, don't have food focus. The cardio's fine. Training's still really good. Like for me, as long as training stays strong, I know everything's in a good spot. If training starts to feel shit, I'm like, okay, I know my body's like fighting it now. But I think it's been a really smooth prep because it's just been a really productive off season. And then transitioning to prep was really easy. And I think because we've taken a longer time, that's been really beneficial. Like my last prep for when I turned pro was 12 weeks. It was a shotgun prep, in my opinion. Like it was 3 months, like in and out. And it was like, I was dropping like a kilo a week, every single week. And I got shredded and lean and I'm a pro cut, which is mega. But I think with the time I've taken away from stage to build muscle now, I'm like, I want to just take my time with it. And it's been gradual. On average, we've dropped £1 to £2 per week over the.
It's a little bit different. Like when you prep, I think people who might be watching this, there's a difference in, I think, what you're looking to achieve between an amateur and a pro. Because what you have to realize, as an amateur, priority needs to be just getting peeled.
Yeah.
You get peeled and you're going to be thereabouts. So you don't need to be worrying so much about muscle preservation because there's too much of a difference between the people in the classes. You're not going to get 12 girls who are all, the exact same as you and, going to achieve the same condition. You set yourself apart by conditioning.
Yeah.
Simple as. But in the pro ranks, you gotta remember everyone's a pro and they've all already won these shows. They're all have good backs, they all have good muscle, they all have so not getting peeled won't cut it. Just like you have to still get peeled, but you also have to think more about I need to maintain fullness, size.
Now is the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a whole package. You try just get away by being, peeled and like just genetically better. You know you're against the genetic elite, so every little percent counts. So you got to look after your muscle more.
Yeah. And Bex, you recently, I believe, a couple of months ago, you had some incident in the gym.
Oh yeah, that injury. That was right to start off, wasn't it? In the hack squat.
Yeah.
Also, that was funny. That was like the third weekend to prep. Yeah, it was a while ago. Yeah.
How is your neck now?
Fine. Touch wood. Don't jinx me. Oh my God. Absolutely fine. No, and that was just like a freak thing in the gym where I was in the hack squat, squatting really heavy. I was sharing it with another member of the gym. I didn't ask this person to spot me, but and my eyes are closed. Whenever I train, my eyes are closed through a set. Like I have to just lock into it and focus on breathing brace. And when I came up with one of my last reps, and I was making some noise towards the end of the set, like it was tough, and I was pushing through it as you do. And on the second to last rep, I felt the weight go up quickly as if someone was spotting me. And I quickly tilted my head like that to look. Didn't hurt in the moment, but afterwards damaged all like the tendons up here in my neck. And I was out of action for about a week of training. It was awful until I went and saw a physio here in Dubai. Massively fixed it, like radiotherapy, manual therapy. And literally within days, but it kind of progressively got worse over like a 3-day period where I was having these excruciating migraines, couldn't get rid of it. No muscle relaxant, anti-inflammatory, nothing was touching it. Went to go and see him and he was like, you've damaged the nerves and the tendons in your neck.
It was pinchy, it was suppose what happened in the tendon.
It was strained.
Yeah, certainly that tendon, whatever it does, if you pull it or strain it, it constricts the blood flow there.
Yeah.
So you end up with
got really tight.
Worse.
It was all I
relieve the tension.
I thought I had a brain tumor. I was like, what is going on? But it's like serious. Oh, no, since then, all good. No injuries, trains.
This being said, any tip that you can tell people about the spotty?
First, ask them if they actually remember spot.
First of all, ask if the person wants a spot.
Yeah, that would help. The second, I think it's first understand who you're working with and what they're trying to achieve. So in that set, where do they need the spot? Like for some people, if you need a spot, normally it's in the most challenging part of the movement, right? So when you're at the lowest part of the eccentrics or at the bottom of a shoulder press or at the bottom of a hack squat or something like that, often all you need is a little lift up, a little touch. We've had this conversation in the gym. Whenever you've spotted me, I'm like, just a little touch. And you're like, no worries. I won't push it all the way. So you have to ensure that you're giving them enough so that they can actually move through the full range of the movement themselves. And it's just a slight touch and a slight tap. And it's the same thing that I do with my clients. Like when they're hitting the strongest weights in the gym and they're trying to get an extra rep out, we apply things like a rest pause, or I say, you're going to need to enlist a spot, get somebody under there and just make sure that they know not to touch your elbows until you absolutely just need that.
I think it would be like a case of, so say, if this, like we were saying, if it's a shoulder press in the elbows. Because as again, if you can see struggles coming, put your hands under their elbows where there's like, you can feel their elbow against your hand. Until you feel pressure from the elbow against your hand, don't move.
Yeah.
Don't assist the rep until the rep
needs a seat.
That's the thing people make is they see someone doing it with so and they go and push.
Like the full thing.
But until you see negative pressure against your hands, don't push, don't touch it.
Same with him and I had
This stuff's literally going to be like, I often say, how much was it? I'll be like,
yeah.
It's just a quick reminder.
It's like 2 fingers. It's like, that's all you need.
That it's only if I just touch it up.
When what I actually try to tell people is that I need to squat you on the small gap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In general, the first centimeters and the last ones is fine. In the middle is the problem, but there's always a gap that people cannot, or they literally cannot go further, or they just struggle a little more to pass through that gap.
Yeah.
But guys, don't steal the movement from the athlete. So they're there for a reason. They're there for a reason.
Vice upholster.
Exactly. And then they spot like in a shoulder press, for example, and you see the spotter actually doing also a shoulder press because they're working together. Actually,
Realistic,
they're nice spotting.
realistically, a spot should only be like 2 fingers or a finger on it. If you're having to use a whole hand, or if you're the person who's getting spotted and someone's having to use pressure with a whole hand and really apply force to you, then you shouldn't even be doing that rep. Like if someone puts a finger on and they just give it, like that's the amount of pressure realistically you should be looking for at a spot.
Or a lighter.
Yeah.
Okay, again about health, but in your case now, Darren.
Your health, right?
Good show.
Yeah, you've been like recently facing a lot of things in your stomach.
I've been facing a lot of things in my whole bodybuilding career. I always have. Oh, listen, I've always been so. I think a lot of it has to play with my background. Like I played sport at the highest level from a young age. I've done huge amounts, and probably like if people were to look at it now and what I was doing as a 13-year-old with the amount of training that I was playing, they'd probably say that it's overtraining and over this, and there'd be restrictions on it. And I think a lot of that has led to injuries within my body, and just like when I played sport before, before I got into bodybuilding, I torn my left hamstring 11 times.
Which sports have you done?
Rugby and hockey at the highest level. I played soccer at the highest level as well as like an underage and academy.
Nice and quiet sports.
I know, right?
So everything, and like at extreme levels, like football, working out. And it just led to like a lot of sort of muscle problems and things like this over the years. And then within bodybuilding, I'm someone I enjoy training hard and I always have done, or you push the limits and inevitably it comes part of it. So I've had lots of injuries with my knees, elbows, muscles, torn muscles. And then over this last year, it's just been a constant, pretty much since the Arnold. So I did the Arnold's Ohio, all good. And then I had a client doing the Arnold UK. So I flew to the Arnold UK as well. And I got COVID. And it ended up being what they call long COVID. So I had long respiratory issues for months. And I had planned on doing shows after that. And I wanted to compete again because I was told to compete again and I wanted to push it for but because I had this, like I was using an inhaler and I couldn't breathe properly, I wasn't able to train to full capacity. So I was only able to like sort of train like 50-60%. And then I was having days where I couldn't train at all. So I couldn't do a show, but I didn't allow my body to come out of prep. I stayed within like 10, 12 pounds of stage maybe. Like I competed at 227. I think the most I went to was like maybe 240. So I stayed really lean.
Okay.
And stayed on cycle and stayed on that way. And I was kind of like, okay, next week. Eventually it went months and then I eventually was able to go into a prep, and I've just been too long pushing and my body being at that point. I did the prep and about things just weren't going right with that.
Even feeling unwell, you kept pushing yourself.
Just stay like where I thought was okay to stay. I wasn't pushing train. Then when I eventually got over the breathing issues, I went into this prep for San Antonio. And I think it was like 5 or 6, from like 7-8 weeks out, it was like, things aren't going great. I'm having to push really hard. And then it was like sort of like 6 weeks out. And I'm like, for perspective, I'd competed at the Arnold Ohio at 227. At 6 weeks out from San Antonio, I was 224. So I was 3 pounds lighter. It looked worse. So it looked worse. And I'm like, I should be. And I'm like, I know what flat looks like. This isn't just flat. There's like something not supposed to be either. Yeah, and there's something not right here. And then there was one day I got back from the gym and I went to eat a meal and I just got like stabbing pains in my stomach, like incredibly bad pains in my stomach. And it just, anytime I ate, I had this. And then I was like, couldn't keep food down. And turned out there was an issue with my pancreas was swollen. And that had come from, I had severe rhabdo. So rhabdo is when your like CK levels become so high, it's like your body is poisoning itself. And it could be very, very serious. So I had, like, so at that point I was like,
No prep.
no prep. I couldn't do anything at that point. I was wrecked. I had no energy and couldn't sleep properly, couldn't do anything. And we had booked and paid for Texas. So that's where
that pain waking you up?
hadn't been sleeping right that whole prep.
It's not even about the wake you up. We didn't work like able to sleep.
No, I was sleeping like 2-3 hours a night. And then it was, so we had like a few weeks. I got myself to a place where I was like feeling okay. So I thought we still want to go to Texas and have a holiday at least. And I was just about able to get to a place where I was able to travel and feel okay and at least not be like having to stay in bed. But even when we were away at like 5 weeks out in Texas, I couldn't walk up and down stairs without my legs shaking and stuff. That's the way like my muscles had gone. That took me a couple months to get back to normal.
Probably till about like Christmas time, you were feeling a bit more better again.
And because of that COVID that I had and the issues that caused my lungs, anytime I get anything now, I could get it really bad with like a chest infection. So, you know, if you get a chest infection, a week, 2 weeks, no matter about me, a month, 6 weeks, where that's like terrible. So I got it recently enough. What was it, about 6 weeks ago? Constantly coughing, sneezing, everything. And it was like, tried to just not do anything about it and hope it would go away. Eventually I had to go to the doctor and he's like, yeah, you had influenza that developed into pneumonia.
Acute pneumonia, sinusitis.
COVID to influenza.
Mhm.
And I've got better, and then 3 days back did my tricep tension.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it's not been an enjoyable ride. Nothing like this, and this was like the first, because I've been sort of like, since I've turned pro, I haven't really I took one real long off season where I made a huge amount of progress, and then started having success as a pro. But since then, I was like, this year, you know what? I'm going to take a full year to just grow and improve. And it's been so far up until now. I haven't.
3 months in, and it's
Some other thing I haven't got going. Like first 12 weeks to suffer. I went and got my blood work done. You know, I get my blood work done regularly. I get my blood work done. I'm like, my testosterone is natural. Yeah, that shouldn't be the case right now. We're using fake gear, then got sick. So yeah. But that aside, everything outside of the gym has been great. So
Oh wow. Cool. Let's focus on the bright side of the story.
yeah, so like clients and work and stuff like that's great. So, you know, swings right.
Is him getting tougher now, coaching you because he cannot compete or not?
no, I think it's better.
I wasn't planning this year. Like,
You will see what's going to take it.
this year was always like there was two factors came into it. Becky wanted her to do a pro debut, and I was like, since my like the Olympia, Becky put me first. The Arnold, Becky put me first, and then so I'm like, right, two things. I want to make sure that this is her pro debut goes as good as it can. And if I'm on prep and we're traveling for weeks to America for her shows, I'm not gonna be able to be fully there. I also want to be like, make sure I'm making all the right decisions with her, all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, I think a year away from stage will be good for me. Yeah. So this year I was never planning on competing this year, but I was planning on doing a little bit more in the gym. But
Well, things happen. Let's change the plan a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I believe the most important thing now is just get your health back.
yeah, I'm not here. Like it's I'm working with the same people who help,
Same physio that helped me.
and they've been seeing me every 2 to 3 days for my elbow and doing loads of treatments. So it's getting better. So
Cool. What are you doing to fix
all the things, I don't remember all the names of the different machines. There's like radiotherapy, shock therapy is the main one, which is like the
with the needle?
no, it's like a machine that it's weird because you can, the shocks go through, but then it targets where, so wherever you won't feel it. So if they put it over here, like feel nothing. As soon as it goes over an area where there's damage, it's like someone stabbing you with knives. So it causes micro tears and stuff that regenerate. And
So the machine comes from no feeling at all to like,
where there's an injury or where the area of pain is, you'll feel it. So, but if you were to just put it on your quad, it's all you can just hear, click, 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 nothing. Then it goes over. If you have some sort of tear or anything, then you'll feel it like crazy.
so the doctor needs to go from your screening.
That's nothing.
Oh, see, okay, yes, that's like good. Like 6 days and like, just say about that. Yeah, so I mix everything that and then like the manual treat. So this session will always start with like some testing and getting some resistance. Like, okay, what sort of resistance can you do? What can you do here? And then it'll go into some sort of manual therapy, and this will it's like a TACAR machine, they call it, which is like radio frequency, which is just feels hot on the area. So they rub it up and down as they're massaging. Then they sort of move into the shock wave, and then they do some more testing afterwards, and then it's kind of advanced to like some like sort of flexibility and mobility work now as well for strength, like working on the issues that have caused it, that they believe may have caused it. So we're at that sort of point now and moving back into training at like a 40-50% load. And then just BPC and TB 500 every day.
Well, basic shit.
Yeah. And the Cardigan, that other one as well. Yeah.
Injectable as well.
Yeah.
And how about your Olympia experience? Was your first time? So
Yeah.
2 years ago, right?
Yeah, so it's weird because it happened like all after the COVID. The Olympia traditionally has always been like the same time every year, but the last couple of years it's been moving like so.
Not just Olympia, all around. I'm quite lost about the agenda actually.
Because what I actually ended up from the show I did to qualify because I won San Antonio
A year before 2021.
Yeah,
because you did the Olympia 22.
Yeah, so I won it in 2021, but it was actually 3 weeks before the 21 Olympia. Because I ended up winning my show, flying back to Dubai, and then a couple of days later flying to Florida for that year's Olympia because I had clients competing in the Olympia. And then I did the following year's Olympia. So I had 14 months from the 13 months qualifying to the Olympia I did.
Yeah. It was only one time?
Yeah, because I haven't competed much since then. So I did that Olympia in 22. And then I was sick after it.
Of course you are.
Yeah. It's just I started a prep and I got
Because I was prepping, then I started prepping down the road. I was ready.
debating whether to move to open because the weight limit was hard.
Oh, you went in
That was it.
Yeah.
First of all, I got sick, and then it was like a case of where my weight was relative to composition. I was like, I'm really having to hold back here to keep in this classic weight limit. So I was like, I'm going to go into an off season. I'm just going to go to open and see what I can do. Like, take a good bit of time off. And
You did that through my prep.
Yeah, so I was in a big off season for Olympia's for Becky's prep. And that was the biggest I ever got. I got up just shy of 290, so it was like 288, 289, and I got to the point where it was like months like just eating so much food. I was like, I can't eat anymore, so I'm going to do a little diet.
You remember how many calories was this?
6 to 7 a day.
6 to 7.
Yeah. And then I was like, right, I need to just. So I started a diet, and I pulled back to like 260 pretty quickly. And as I was in that diet phase, then classic limit changed. They added 5 pounds to it. So my old limit was 222. So I did the Olympia at 222. And then they announced that mine would be 227. And when I had been prepping previously, my best look had always been around sort of 230 to 225. So I was like, okay, this kind of lands me perfect. And I'm like, I'm 260 now. And then I was like, the list of the applications for the Arnold came out, and the applications made sense that you have to be considered, you've had to have won a pro show in the last 12 months or last 18 months or something. You have had to have done that and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, cool, I'll put my name
I thought
forward.
it was the September, October time you put it forward and you found out before Christmas or something, but you'd already started dieting.
Yeah, because I had started dieting anyway because I was like, I'm too big, I need to and I had no appetite. So I started dieting, and then I was like, screw it, I'll do is I'll put the application in, and if I get invited to do the Arnold, I'll do the Arnold Classic. If I don't get invited, I'll go back into off season and push for open.
No.
And realistically, in my mind, I'd never thought I'd get an invite to the Arnold.
Why?
This is the Arnold, it's the top, they only pick 12 people in the whole world to do it, And I'm like, if you look at the Arnold lineup that we went, and they told us even at the thing, there was something like a couple of thousand people applied to do that class. It's the classic that year. You had the whole Olympia top 10 pretty much bar Chris. We had everyone the year I did it as well. It was crazy. So, I just didn't think I'd get it. So I applied, and then when I got notified I was in it, I was like, okay, crazy. So going from someone
You were surprised. So
Yeah, like it's all been a surprise to me because this was never something, people today are like, they're in the gym and they're like, oh, I want to go for my pro card. And it's a dream of theirs to like, yes, that was not like, I wasn't a different generation, I guess. And coming from Ireland, it was never a goal to be a pro bodybuilder, So that was never something I wanted to do or anticipated would happen.
so you're saying that things just happened?
Pretty much. Obviously, I worked for it, but
Yes.
I do this because I just love training, and it was like always about the release of training, and I love training. Like I love the training aspect of it. And people who know me know I hate stage. I hate that part of the process. I hate when it gets to the back end of prep. I'll say to you, I'm like, I fucking hate training right now because I feel weak. I love an off season because I can get strong. It's probably why I get injured so much because
Or have a nice and heavy session and that's it.
yeah, that's the part I love. So I've always just done that, and it's one where I come from. It wasn't heard of to be a pro bodybuilder. It wasn't anything to be done, and nobody had done it before. Like it's, I'm still the first Irish person to ever do an Olympia. So becoming a pro bodybuilder wasn't something I ever dreamt of. Wasn't something I thought would happen. So then that happened, and then it was like, okay, cool. Do this pro show. The pro show I won. My goal was, it'd be amazing if I could get top 5. That was my It wasn't even an expectation. That was probably me going. That was me kind of reaching. Like some people are like, oh, I'd love to win. They're like, oh yeah, it'd be amazing. My thing was, it'd be amazing if I could get top 5 at a pro show. So then I won and went to the Olympia, and then next show I did was the Arnold. So it's been a lot.
Max, were you surprised for this or you kind of expecting?
Nah, I wasn't surprised. I always told him he was amazing, but he doesn't listen to me. I think he's got a great physique, great shape structure, huge muscle bellies. Your back used to be shit. It's better. I always but then I compare his back to mine, and I'm like, our backs are very different.
Well, it's a little bit bigger.
It might be bigger, but it's not as dense. But now he's got a little bit more muscle density and like more 3D muscle going on there. But yeah.
Yeah. So.
Do you remember what was your feeling on a stage, on the Olympia stage, and your first thought when you left the stage?
It's kind of that old one. I think so a lot of pros have sort of touched on this sort of thing of not really being present because you get caught up in the emotion of it all. And then the Olympia is huge. Yes. That's so huge. And if I'm honest, it's a bit daunting and it's a bit like you get lost in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I was to do it again, I think I'd make more of an effort to just be enjoying, have fun. Because I think you get so caught up in the nerves and and then you get there and it's just massive. That I don't really remember a huge amount of it other than it, being a bit nervous and I don't remember a huge amount. I remember having a good bit of fun we had fun in the villa we had because, we decided we'd rent a villa outside of Vegas, the residential area, like not far from the Dragon's Lair and stuff like that. My coach who was coaching me at the time, Callum, who's a friend, stayed with us. Videographer. Or the videographer. So we had a fun house, and then that was like enjoyable, but
I think you enjoyed the Arnold's more.
Yeah, from an athlete experience, I loved the Arnold.
That was incredible.
Whether it was I was more in a better space as an athlete mentally to absorb it all, but I think it's just because it's smaller and more intimate. When you do the Olympia, you go to like your weigh-ins and it's huge and it takes ages.
Like how many? 35 or something?
60.
Oh yeah,
like just under 60. Whereas you do the Arnold, it's like they have a time dedicated and a room dedicated for your weigh-in. It's just the 12 of you show up and you're all just chatty and you're all a lot more friendly and a bit more like it's more intimate. You get to know each other more. You go and you do your weigh-ins. You come out, this is crazy because the Columbus where it's on is just basically set up for the Arnold that weekend.
The whole
place, just like restaurants have offers on for special menus for the Arnold. The hotel and stuff where it's on, it's a big joint double hotel.
They're kind of large as silly.
They're like, oh, there's you can find any of these people. Their job is to assist you, and they're like, yeah, if you need us to go to the shop and get something for you, need it. Like they're there to like you actually get treated like a professional athlete.
Yeah, armed security taking
you everywhere. Even from like the way it works for like the show is, you have to turn up in an area of the hotel, and someone walks you, and it walks you to another area. You taken into a holding room where you just relax and chill for a while, and then they're like, right, you guys are going to be on stage in 40 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk to the backstage area. And then they're like, we get to this point, they stop us. They go, right, there's 100 meters here where we actually have to walk down the side of the expo for the pre-judging. I bring you backstage. So like, just walk us straight, and then there's like armed guards either side of you. In front of you. I just remember being like, Michael DeBoule was in front of me, and we were just both like, what the hell is
What's going on?
Yeah, we're both like on our phones like, this ridiculous. Like, what is going on here, you know? Red carpet. Yeah, literally, and you just get treated so well. It's just the most enjoyable experience. Like, it's a fun experience, and the whole Arnold event as well, like the expo and everything is cool. Everyone's just really upbeat and happy there, you know?
Got it. That's nice.
Yeah, even like I think everyone's, it's just because it's smaller and more intimate, all the athletes are a little bit more chill. Like, I just remember being the Arnold finals and we're backstage waiting, and there's like the classic guys and the open guys we're just all just lying there and just chilling, chatting, and we're like lying looking next to me, and Samson's just lying there going, like snoring his head off, you know. Antoine is like throwing rice cakes around at people and stuff like this, you know. It's just
Boys being boys?
yeah, not like, whereas the Olympia seemed a bit like everyone was backstage and all of it very serious. It was all very like, nobody talked, and yeah.
Why do you think?
I think maybe because it's just so big and everyone's a bit lost that their heads are somewhere. Whereas I think when you're in a calmer environment, everyone just lets their guard down a little bit more.
And also, if you think about it, with the Olympia, there's that pressure of everyone's at the pinnacle of the sport, right? And there's so many of you. Whereas the Arnold's, it's like you've been invited to be there. So you're probably a bit more relaxed because you're like, oh no, you want me to be here. So potentially you're not feeling as much pressure. I don't know.
Yeah.
Gotcha. It's not just about the environment, the atmosphere, but the atmosphere that is being built for it. So Olympia, people just like qualified to it, but the Arnold, since you are invited, it's kind of like, okay, we are entirely here.
Yeah.
His friend.
Definitely feels like that.
And I think, like, I'll always think, for me personally, I'll always think the Arnold is the greatest achievement I've had, because the Olympia, you've got to win a show and you get to go to it. Yeah. The Arnold, you got to win a show and then get selected from people who won the shows. So it's actually more prestigious really in that aspect.
Gotcha. How about the timings? And therefore, how much you wait? There was some delay. Was
Everything's moved on.
He was always exactly on. Yeah, the times they said to us, like, down to the point they're like, you meet at this part of all the athletes, we want you to gather here, and then we'll walk you over, or we'll take you over, then you'll be backstage at this time, and then it was all like within a minute of, there was none of that. Listen, with a smaller group, it's obviously easier to control that. The Olympia, it's harder because we nearly ending at the Olympia, we had to pump up between every section, because it was like, we went out as a group, you come and you go backstage the next, and there's like 12 groups. By the time you then go out for your individual, 45 minutes to an hour have gone by. And then by the time you go out for pre-judging, or the actual like judging part of it, another, like, pre-judging at the Olympia took like 3.5, 4 hours from backstage to coming back out again.
Got it. Have you ever experienced a huge delay in some competition?
Yes. Do you remember one of my shows in Portugal or Alicante?
Yeah.
That was really delayed.
It's you're always going to get it, I think, at amateur shows for sure, because they can't control how many people are going to turn up for certain classes and train. You know, they make a schedule and they go, right, we're going to have bikini, we're going to have this, we're going to have this. They allocate, try to follow, but then all of a sudden they go, shit, we have 200 in bikini, that takes 2 hours to do, and then there's only 10 in wellness, that takes 10 minutes to do, and obviously your timings are going to be
Messy.
yeah. But listen, it's the same for everyone who's stepping on stage with you, so it doesn't make a difference to your process.
I think when it comes to clients, it's keeping them calm in that moment and just being like, we have a plan, you've checked in with me, we know what we're doing, we just shift the time if we need to in terms of food, water, etc.
And in general, you guys travel with your athletes?
Did a little bit more before, now I don't as much. I don't think it adds a huge benefit to the process. Like when you, like I said earlier, when you're doing the whole process via pictures, I don't think it really brings a benefit to be there. Unless, of course, you're always gonna, your clients, like I've been, the last couple of shows that I've actually been to, been like the client doing the Arnold
And the Olympia with you. Yeah.
Well, I was doing it too. So
How's a coach?
yeah,
And there's not much to do actually on backstage because if that guy is not ready,
Yeah.
what to do now?
and I think
Yeah, we have a couple of hours.
you have to be realistic as well. It's all well and good people saying they're gonna go use clients in like maybe someone in the UK, they're going to all their clients' regional shows. You're driving an hour. Cool, makes no real difference to you, but at this point you got to be realistic and look at it like it's like if I'm coaching you and you're in Brazil and you're like, I want you to come to my show, and I'm like, yeah, you've paid me as a client for the last 6 months. My flight there is going to cost twice what you've paid me. Since
It doesn't make sense.
it doesn't make sense. So if a client now is like somewhere anywhere in Europe or something, like they want me to, I'm like, if you cover my flight, then of course, if I can with my schedule, then I'd be there. But you can't justify for paying out 3,000-4,000 to go to a client show when they've paid you a couple of hundred for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Sure. I don't think anyone, if you turned around and they said that, if someone working a job and their boss said, can you go here, but I want you to pay your own way. And they're like, you're not even paying me that my wages. They're going to say, no, of course not. It is a job at the end of the day, but there's always going to be times where if it kind of works.
There's clients there here like to buy the
or if it works in line with some travel, or if you're like, Joe, I want to go back to the UK at some point, I've got a couple of clients who want to compete, right? If I can get them all in the same show, if they could all compete, or let's make a weekend of it. Because you always want to see, like we're off to Dallas in 2 weeks. So I've messaged all my clients in America, like, you guys want to come down that weekend? It'd be awesome if we could all just hang out. I'll go through training stuff with you. We'll hang out for the day, because it's going to be fun. You're saying, yeah.
You both work online mainly.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You guys work together with the same clients or not?
No,
No,
totally different businesses. Yeah.
different.
Why have you ever thought or working together was something that like just happened at a stay like that? No, all right, I am accelerate next topic.
I love my husband, but we work very differently. Like we are very good at our jobs within our own right, and he's an excellent coach and I'm an excellent coach, but the way in which we work is very different. Like I come from a teaching background, so I'm very like systematic and organized. Not saying he's not, but like our brains work differently and it just wouldn't work. I like having my work separate. He likes having his work separate, and he would probably go to the extent and say that I'm like super anal with my schedule and everything that I do, and I'm super meticulous with like everything from YouTube to podcasts to Instagram posts, how I run my clients' kind of schedule for check-ins and stuff. But what I think is important is, yes, we're both coaches with our own separate clients, but we make our schedule work seamlessly. So we have our schedule for who's in the office doing calls or check-ins at different times, and then we kind of float that way. And it means we meet in the middle. So that works out well. But we do have it sometimes where you'll be like coaching a client and maybe he's a prep client, but his wife wants coaching, lifestyle coaching. He's like, actually, you're better suited to Bex. Like, she takes on lifestyle clients. So I do both like lifestyle and prep clients. So that kind of works.
Yeah. You have a couple of clients like that where I work with those, but they work with them.
Yeah.
What do you consider the main difference between the work of you two?
What would you consider the main difference between the work?
I'm more systematic and I'm very different in my approach in terms of how I see and how I
His
visualize.
brain works differently to me. He's got a photographic memory for a start.
Yeah.
Like this kid didn't have to like study any exams or anything. He just read the book the night before and then gets an A. Like this is the type of person he is.
Some therapy, 2-3 years ago, and she
needs a lot of therapy.
No, but I've always wanted to, you see these things with like ADHD, and I've some of those tendencies with the way I am. So I thought that, and she diagnosed me actually what they call rainforest mind. And she basically put it as a way of like, you're someone that if you're interested in something has your interest, you need to know everything about it.
Yep.
And you can go down and take it all in. And that's the way I've been. It's like, even as a kid when there was Premier, I knew every Premier League player and knew all their stats.
He still knows them.
I still know. Right.
And there's the name of every
freaking things I can tell you about, like anything with to do with nutrition. If something comes up and I'm like, oh, that's interesting, I'll go on a massive rabbit hole, like down, and I could be there just looking. I'll go down to everything and then I'll know it all. That's the way, and I like this. But then things I have no interest in, straight over my head.
That's no interest at all.
It's like my brain just doesn't even want to acknowledge it. Anything, but it's stuff
like housework.
So I do work quite differently in that aspect, and it's the same with my workflow is like that as well.
Uh-huh.
I'll get in a workflow and just go through, and Whereas Bex is more like, she'll schedule out, I'm going to do this at this time, this at this time. Whereas I'm more like, no, my brain doesn't feel like doing it right now. But when it does, I'll go through it and I'll stay doing it for hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Focus.
Yeah.
I am.
Quite similar to someone with like ADHD.
Yeah.
That's sort of way that it's like when I lock in,
Like similar or you got?
I don't, it's like I have tendencies that are similar to that, but mine's like, it's what they call rainforest mind.
Got it.
It's just an ability to like take in, and that's the way it was in school. Like I used to be in school, if I was doing an exam and a word would stand out to me and I'd go, okay. And then I could picture the board in school where the teacher was writing and explaining. I could just visualize and just copy it down.
Photograph of memory.
Okay, yeah, in the high level.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm very different. Like I like a schedule and routine. I need to know what I'm doing at what time, like very systematic in my approach. He said to me the other day, you're type A. I was like, what's type A? He's like, you're so type A. I was like, I think it was around like me cheating my diet or not doing cardio or whatever. Like,
But she'd always do this to me. Every couple of days she'd go, I'm just going to get a pizza. I'm like, cool, go do it.
I'm like, go do it. She's like, I will. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. I'm like, you won't do it because that would actually kill you inside to do it.
I'm one of these ridiculous people that I'm on his app for coaching and I'll be like, I'll log all of my training in there. I'll log my cardio. I'm like, do you ever fucking look at my training log? He's like, why do I need to?
You every day.
I was like, why am I filling this in? He's like, because you can't not, because it's a box you have to tick. I'm like, for fuck's sake. So yeah, that's how we're very different. So you can see why we won't work together.
Oh God, yeah, never worked. You guys ask yourself like the sharing clients because look, this mind, this having this and that. What to think?
Oh yeah, often, yeah. And that's right, with no disrespect to like clients and client kind of confidentiality and stuff, but it's more a case of if I've got a concern that I think he can help me with, or I'm battling with something, I'm like, I'm not too sure what to do here. How would you approach it? Or if we have something that comes up with a client and you almost have to say, you know what it's like when a client might say something and you think, I need to stop before I respond to this, or WhatsApp comes through, or there's an issue, or so that's a nice way to kind of be like, take a second and get a different perspective. I think, yeah, we do that quite often. I'd say probably me leaning on him more than him leaning on me. Although sometimes you do, but he never really asks, what would you say or do? He'll be like, this is what I did. I'm like, okay, good, great. Why are you telling me?
And going for this, almost this ADHD. What's the name again?
Rainforest mind.
Farrell. Okay, how is your mental health?
I've struggled in the past, definitely, and I think there's huge amounts of things. A lot is like with that, with insecurities and just issues I faced in the past that I just didn't deal with.
Insecurities about what?
Just myself in general as a person, and just not being the most confident. I'm quite an introvert, like very much an introvert. I'm not I don't like to socialize in huge groups and stuff like that.
Got it.
And always just been very self-conscious. I think as a young age, I placed a lot of my identity on sport. And I was always really good at sports. That's who I was. When that got taken away, trying to find who I was as a person, where you don't have this crutch to foot. It's like anything. It's like, and that's like bodybuilding kind of took that crutch. Then was, be a good bodybuilder, and nobody really knows who you are.
Yes.
So that's what I kind of always went through that, and that's got into bodybuilding. That became the crutch, where it's just I don't really have to show anyone who I am. They just see me as this. But I've worked on that a lot the last couple of years and become a lot better with who I am, confident in myself and not really worried about all this stuff and just what really matters to me. But a mixture of working on it and I think just maturing.
You have any trigger for some, like, I still go very anxious of things.
I still get very anxious over things and I know it. Like I said it to you recently, health anxiety, really bad health anxiety, really lately. Any little thing I feel, I start worrying about looking up. But could this be that? Listen. I'm 35.
I've been bodybuilding for a while.
I think you're 36.
36 in August.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Okay. Are you sure?
I don't know.
No, I think so. Babe, we're 3 years difference, right? Aren't we?
At points and then 4 at another.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Give me your idea. Let's go through.
You know, you probably said when you've been doing this a while, you see some of the horror stories and you can't help, even though like I get regular blood work done, I get all the stuff checked, but I've had health issues lately that are bodybuilding related. But I don't like, you get a bit like out of control with your thoughts. And I've been having that a lot like the last couple of months where, you know, I'm coughing all the time. Shit, could that be lung cancer? And you start thinking this and you start, oh, my blood pressure's high, but I need to do, you know, all these sort of things. I worry about them. So like, that's just purely, again, I see it and I know it. I'm like, I'll panic in the moment and then I'll gradually calm down and this irrationalize. This is just my irrational anxiety that takes over. And that's where it's being placed at the moment, but it can be around numbers that I can be about, like in the past, it's been about money. I can start thinking really badly about money. Things are going well. I can start thinking about like my position in life. What am I going to do if this happens? Yeah, so I'm still quite I have quite a bit of anxiety randomly about different stuff, but you know, I recognize it. Like I know that that's what it is.
He doesn't let it spiral anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't spiral like it used to and go into like a depressive state.
Do you manage to calm down by yourself?
Yeah, because I think anyone like you, like I've had depression and I've been in bad, like, and when people say, oh, how did you get better? You don't get better. You don't get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
You learn to become more self-aware and you see these and you go, it's like I used to always say, it's like, what would you do? Like if you had a friend who was telling you this exact stuff, you'd say, just relax, it's okay, you know, and you just off yourself that way, you know, step out of the situation and view it. And you go, okay, this is nothing to worry about.
And I think the other thing is that he talks to me more about it, whereas before in the past, he would just go quiet and just have these ruminating thoughts and this anxiety building up. Whereas now, because we spend every moment of the day together, as you know. So I think if he's feeling those things, he'll just talk to me, or I'll prompt it out of him and say, you okay? What are you thinking? And he'll be like, oh, I'm worried about this. And I'm like, okay, let's talk about it.
So you're trying to hide yourself from that in that time?
I think I've just always been so used to keeping everything to myself. It's taken a long time for those barriers to come down.
Got it.
You know,
Right.
I'm like I said, I'm an introvert, someone who's just always been on their own and comfortable that way. Even like it was years we were together before I even started telling her anything.
Got it. Yeah. Bex, your mental health.
Oh, good. Yeah.
It's all fine.
I don't think I have any issues. Do I have any issues? Like,
Love your mental health.
nothing around mental health. I'm just mental, maybe.
Simpler.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty calm and collected. There's things that keep me grounded.
You know what they say with couples are, the best couples are opposites that complete each other's hearts. We're very different in our personalities. Like I'm really chilled, relaxed, and just, you know, she's quite high strung and
I knew you were going to say that, highly strung.
has to have a plan and all that. When she's getting a bit like, I'm just chill, it's okay.
That's when he comes to me for a cuddle and I'm like, okay. All right.
We work well that way. We're very different personalities. That's the way, but we
compliment
compliment each other, kind of control each other's bad for that way, I guess.
Hey, after 10 years, you understand how each other's work.
He knows I take a few deep breaths sometimes, but
It's normally at the breakfast table. I'm like, babe, we got to leave. Like, we got to leave in the house in half an hour. Can you go shower and get ready now? Come on, let's go.
No time to chill.
No time on chill. Yeah, chilling. And then I starts chilling with the dogs and gets distracted and procrastinates. And he's like, oh, Milo. And I'm like, get up those fucking stairs now. Come on.
Easy.
Yes, go.
Come on, kitty.
But no, I think it works.
Okay, guys, thank you very much for coming. Was a very pleasure.
Thank you for having us. It's been a delight. Yeah.
Guys, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, follow them, and share as much as you can. All of this. Don't forget to tap the bell, activate the notifications.
And let's share the reels, please.
Darren, Bex, thank you very much for pumping gift. It was a really pleasure. Guys, thank you very much. See you next week.